Hi, everybody. My name is Robert Allen, #1 New York Times best-selling author. And today we're going to talk about what I call traits of the greats. And when you look at all the great ones out there in the world, whomever you admire and respect, they have certain habits and characteristics, some ideas, some goals, some plans, things that set them apart. And I want to introduce you to one of my favorite friends and a previous student, but now he's definitely a peer. And Greg Poulos, let me introduce everybody to you, if you wouldn't mind. Everybody, there's Greg Poulos.
Hi,
Greg,
Rob.
you're in the East Coast somewhere, right?
I'm in Michigan, yeah.
Michigan. And Greg, just like many of you, we all have a desire to find our path in life and figure out where to plug in our umbilical cord, and so we get all the money we ever want. So Greg, tell us briefly a little bit about your story, and then I'll dig in to ask you some more questions.
Sure, yeah, it's great to talk with you, Bob. My story, well, my story with regards to being an entrepreneur starts around 2001. And I had worked for dot-com companies in the 90s for about 7 years. And I enjoyed that work when I was younger. But somewhere along the line, I read Robert Kiyosaki's Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Sure.
And that was the first book I read that kind of opened my eyes to a different way of working. And when I saw that I was in the employee quadrant, and there were other quadrants where you could make money, that you could make a lot more money with a lot less work and help a lot more people, that really got me thinking. And in 2001, the company I was working for went out of business. And I had an opportunity to do something new because I was paid a severance payout of 6 months of my salary in one lump sum. And at the time I was single and I had a lot of time on my hands, so it was a great opportunity. The same year, my father, who was a lifelong stock and options trader, retired from General Motors early at age 53. So he was looking for something to do and I was looking for something to do. And we were literally at his kitchen table having dinner when I said, hey, why don't we start a company and help people trade the stock market with all of your knowledge? And he just looked at me and he said, what knowledge? He didn't think he knew anything. But that was an early lesson around how all you need to know is a little bit more than someone else to be able to help them out. And while he didn't think he knew anything, I knew that he knew a lot and that he would be able to help people avoid all the mistakes that he had made over the years. And that along the way, we could, hopefully start a business and help ahead and make some money too. So that's what we did in 2001. And we actually launched our website on September 11th, 2001. That was our big launch day. And that same day, my dad had his retirement party from General Motors planned. He had workmates from all over the world flying in for the party. And of course, we ended up canceling everything. We canceled the party, canceled the launch and everything. And then, a month later, we went at it again. And it only took us 3 or 4 years to figure out how to make money. And I had no experience as an entrepreneur, really. I did some side businesses in the 90s, but nothing that prepared me for what we were about to embark on. And then in 2004, we read a book called The 1 Minute Millionaire that a work friend of my dad's had given him. And my dad saw the title of the book and he shook his head and he goes, you don't want to read that crap. That's a bunch of nonsense. And his friend said, no, this is a good book. You guys gotta read this. And in the book, which was an excellent book, by the way, that you and Mark Victor Hansen wrote, in that book, there was an invitation to attend a free seminar. So we went to that seminar in Dallas, Texas in July of 2004. And that's where we first saw you speak. And we learned a lot of information. Man, it was mind blowing. Everything about the seminar, from the content to the branding, to the presentations, to the marketing, everything was just dialed in. You guys are masters at that. And whatever you said, Bob, really struck a chord with me. And I ended up signing up for your Inner Circle program at that event, and then spent the next year and a half traveling the world with you and learning from you. And that's when things started to happen for us. And we started to learn, and our business started to take off. And within, 6 months of starting to work with you, we started to actually have some success in our business after a short 3-4 years.
And you started marketing your programs on financial subjects. I think you started doing Forex first. Is that one of the programs?
Yeah, we started doing stock trading and Forex trading, and we would sell home study courses. And I remember one of our first successes. We sold an ebook and video training, all digital, because we couldn't afford to print any materials. Yeah. So it was all digital, so fulfillment was nearly free. And we started to market that program, and made enough money with that program to be able to then create a physical version of it, a much higher quality version of it. And then we were able to raise the price and start to go from there. But that all happened. That first big success happened during my time with you in the Inner Circle in 2004, 2005.
Then I started getting emails from you as you're having certain, good gross years. There's a difference between gross and net, but you were doing, multi-million-dollar years in there, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah. It was really fun to, of course, to be able to experience those early successes, and then continue to have success. It was, as you know, it's not a straight path up, and even to this day, it's a roller coaster. Everything changes. Change is the name of the game. Our business today is completely different than it was in 2004. And like you said, gross is different than net. You hear a lot of people talk about making $1 million. That's great, of course, but there's a lot that comes out of that $1 million. Refunds and fulfillment and salaries and taxes and, mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. So what do you think, what drives you, Greg? Why are you still here doing this? What motivates you? What gets you up in the morning?
What motivates me really is a freedom to have time to spend however I want to spend it. And in recent years, that is, for me, that means spending time with my family, with my wife and my 2.5-year-old daughter. The older you get, the more you realize that there's not a lot of, they're not making more time, right?
Right.
And really you kind of feel the time pressure of your life start to compress, and you realize more and more how important and how precious time is. So that's what motivates me is the money allows me to have that time, but really ultimately it is about having time.
When you do your business now, is it something you go into every day? What kind of time do you spend now running the business?
Yeah, that's a good question. When I started off when I was single, I was probably working 70, 80 hours a week, working at home. Loved it. I would work until 3, 4 a.m. and wake up whenever I wanted to wake up, and it was very exciting. And then when I met my wife, she would when we were dating, she would look at me and she would say, "Hey, do you want to work all night or do you want to hang out with me?" And she really helped me create two different worlds, which was healthy. And I definitely think there's a time and a place to work long hours. Not necessarily. I don't think you have to, but I think if you have the opportunity to, it'll be a good thing to do. But she helped me create a work environment and a home environment, and that was around the time that we opened our first physical office outside the home, and now or somewhere along the line, I made a decision to only work when I was at my office outside my house. And once I got home, that was it. I was done working for the day. That doesn't always happen, but that's what I try to do. And I think it's very healthy, because as an entrepreneur, you can always work. You're always thinking about work, and you're thinking about opportunity cost, and oh my gosh, I could be doing something right this second that could make more money and help more people. But it's a game that you can't win, I don't believe. And you really need to have the downtime.
I agree 100%. My wife, at the early parts of our marriage, she could see I was the same as you, working 24 hours a day. And she basically said, I'll make an agreement with you. You quit at 6 o'clock and I'll stay married to you.
Yeah.
It's not always, but pretty much when it gets to be 5-ish, 6-ish, I'm done. And then I want to focus 100% here in the home. Yeah. And of course, my office is in my home now. So that's a hard part, I got to be able to close that door and go back out into the rest of the house and have it be done, right? But now these phones follow us around wherever we go, so it's kind of hard to have the door
big problem. Yeah, it's a hard discipline for sure. I'm not. I haven't figured it out yet. I still am guilty of checking sales constantly. And my wife asked me a good question the other day. She said, "You're always checking sales, but can you do anything about it right this second? Can you wait until tomorrow? Like, in other words, what action would I take looking at that sales at 8 o'clock at night? And really, there's nothing I would do. So I'm trying to trying to learn to wait and to resist the temptation to check emails and check sales until I'm actually in the office."
Now, you've had lots of students over the years, people you've taught financial information.
Over 150,000. Well, we've had over 150,000 customers.
Wow.
Since 2001. Yeah.
150,000. Wow.
Yeah.
Congratulations. Yeah. And you get those success stories. For me, a success story is everything for me. I love success stories of my students.
Yeah, we have a bulletin board in our office that says success stories on it. And anytime anyone emails us a success story, we actually have a custom database that we enter it into, and then we print it out on a piece of paper and tack it up on the board and highlight different parts of it. It just feels good to walk by that every day, and it reminds me and my team, really why we're doing what we're doing, because there's of course there's so many things that can beat you down and make you want to quit. There's a lot of roadblocks.
What website do you use these days? What website do people go to if they want to find out more about what you do?
They can go to profitsrun.com.
Profitsrun.com.
Yeah.
And you've used that site from the early ages, right?
Yeah, that's the domain that we registered in 2000, probably in 2000. Yeah.
Profitsrun.com. And every day, do you have courses that you teach? Are they in a a classroom setting? Or how do people learn what you teach?
Yeah, we primarily these days we sell financial newsletters that make specific buy and sell recommendations with different types of stock and options trading. We do still have some Forex, we do some cryptocurrency, some Bitcoin stuff. And we have different editors that run those newsletters. My father, Bill, he's the editor of many of them. My little brother, who's now 31 or so, he's now one of our editors, and he's very much like my dad in that he's a great trader, really loves the financial markets. So we brought him in. He's been working with us full time for a few years now. So he's kind of, my dad has no plans to retire, but he's in his 70s now, and it feels good to have my brother in here in his 30s with lots of energy, lots of excitement, so that even if my dad wanted to retire one day, we could keep things going and have another family member on the fulfillment side of things here.
So kind of trying to create the next Warren Buffett, huh?
Yeah, sure.
So
yeah.
when your dad's gone, you got your brother filling in those shoes.
Yeah.
What are his strengths compared to your strengths?
My brother.
Yeah, brother and your father. How do you?
Yeah, my brother and my father. They're not really marketers. They are definitely traders. They have the very left brain, analytical minds. They are really smart financial guys. They love looking at stock charts and figuring out ways to trade the markets, and then writing about and communicating those strategies. That's really they're awesome at that. I am not. I do not. It's funny, even though my business is a financial publishing business that I run. I am not that interested in the actual trading. I'm interested in the challenges around the business and in the marketing. And my skills, my strengths are in that category. I'm a good marketer, and I understand persuasion, and I understand how to split test marketing campaigns and things like that. So it's a really good partnership that my dad and I have in particular, because we haven't really ever stepped on each other's toes, and we haven't had any big disagreement, believe it or not, in almost 20 years of doing this. And I think a big part of that is because we kind of live in these different buckets in the business.
Yeah, just like Roy Disney and Walt Disney, Steve Jobs and Steve Wozniak.
Yeah.
A lot of big, Bill Gates and Paul Allen. They form together this strength of partnerships, and they have their own strengths, and they make the whole thing much stronger. So I think that's what you've been doing, isn't it?
Yeah, and I realized that I kind of lucked into it. It was a great opportunity, and I didn't realize it at the time. But now in hindsight, I realized that there was definitely some luck in that my dad was there and available, and I was there and available, and our skills happened to complement each other. However, that's just one tiny piece of it, and you have to be able to recognize that also, and take advantage of it, and act on what you've been given. It's not something where you can luck into just having a business happen and create itself, right?
Yeah. You're also a very big fan and a success story for the Jeff Walker's system.
Yeah.
You did it at years ago, where you would follow the PL, what do you call it? PLF,
product launch formula. Yeah. Product launch formula. Yeah.
And Do you still use the product launch formula in your business?
We don't. Well, we do occasionally, not as much as we once did. In around 2006 through maybe 2012, we were very much our business was a product launch formula driven business, and we would do 4 main product launches per year, about one per quarter,
Uh-huh.
and that was a great business model at the time. It was very stressful though because we weren't doing anything else in between those launches. We did no regular advertising. We would do these big joint venture affiliate launches where we get a lot of
Yeah.
people together to promote our products, and then we would pay them a sales commission afterward, which is it's nice because there's very little financial risk up front because you're not spending money on advertising. However, there's a lot of performance stress, a lot of stress to perform,
Yeah, because
because
time-based
yeah,
deadlines.
sure. Yeah, you'll lose a lot of time if the launch doesn't go well. We were very fortunate to have some very big launches, very successful launches. That model kind of slowed down and dried up in the financial space. That doesn't mean it's dead. It's definitely not dead. You can still do that. But we did notice it started to slow down in 2012, and we were forced to kind of reinvent our business. And I was also very tired of the stress, the
Yeah.
up and down, the big roller coaster with the business. So we changed the model, and now while we don't do product launch formula per se, we will still do little mini launches or little mini promotions that will feature a product for a week or two, and then feature something else.
Yeah, just for those of you watching, if you don't know what the product launch formula is, it's a deadline basically, and you
Yeah.
basically create a product that it becomes very unique and time sensitive, and on that day the price drops and you get all kinds of bonuses, and then it disappears, it goes away, it's not available any longer. So when you miss it, you're toast. And so now, give me some ideas on some of your biggest launches throughout those years, from 2012 to 2008 to 2012. What were some of the numbers you had? These are gross numbers. You got to split the profits with all kinds of JVs, but what kind of gross numbers were you hitting?
Well, our first product launch, which was the most memorable, was in March of 2006, and before we did that launch, the prior 12 months, whole year, our sales for the year were about $500,000 gross, which is great, man. Fantastic sales, right? And we only had one employee, but still, that $500,000 was still largely from affiliates, and we had to pay commissions. About half of that goes to commissions, and then there's probably 25% in refunds, which is pretty typical for an information marketing business, especially in 2006. And that doesn't mean the products aren't good. That just means that you're selling very aggressively. And some people get excited, they buy, and then they change their mind, which is fine. So we give them a refund. But anyway, so before that launch, about $500,000 in sales. That launch, March of 2006, in 7 days, we sold $555,000 using the product launch formula. So imagine that. You compress 12 months into 7 days. It was mind blowing, right? I remember the day after that launch, I was on a first class airplane trip to Rome, and I had this vacation scheduled. At the time, I had planned this trip with my girlfriend at the time, and we broke up a month before the trip. So I upgraded my coach ticket to first class, and got a refund on hers, and then called a childhood buddy of mine. He met me in Rome, and we had a week vacation. It was great. That was a lot of fun to celebrate the launch that way.
Totally. What other
Yeah.
kind of launches are memorable?
The other big, our best one ever was, I forget the year, it may have been 2010. And it was just under $4 million in about 10 days. That was the best one.
4 million in 10 days. Of course, it
Yeah.
wasn't 10 days. It was 6 months or four,
Yeah.
at least 3 months leading up to it. And
It
then
was
10 days.
it was 3 to 4 months of back-breaking work. I was working 70 hours a week, then hustling affiliates, creating a product and everything. But yeah, it was 10 days of active selling that brought in just under $4 million. But again, gross numbers. That one actually had a higher refund rate for whatever reason. Probably because we sold so aggressively. And, we paid out half of that then after refunds goes to commissions, and that was a physical product.
Four of
So we
those a
have
year.
fulfillment also. Pardon?
You had to do 4 of those a year. Would
Yeah.
you do about $1 million on average every time you do a
Yeah,
product?
about $1 million on average if you look at all of them. Yeah.
Awesome. And then
Yeah.
you had to change, the world changed. In 2012, 2013, you had to rejigger your entire strategy. Did it take a while to figure that out?
Oh yeah, we had 2 years where we were wondering whether or not we would be able to keep the business going. We talked about laying all our employees off and closing the office down and just working from home again. Those are a little scary times. That was just in 2014, 2015. That's when that was going on. So pretty recently. And I've always had this attitude that there's always an answer. It's, even when things are really, really tough, there's an answer out there. You just got to keep trying and testing and not giving up. Because when I felt like giving up, or even today, I feel like giving up probably once a week, because there's always some big hurdle that you're like, oh my gosh, what are we going to do now? I remind myself that, well, the alternative to this is I can go work for somebody else.
Yeah, yeah.
And, there's nothing wrong with that if that's what you want. And I really enjoyed working for someone else for 7 years when I was younger. I had a great time. It was fun. But I ended up having a lot more fun having my own company. It's even more fun. So I would always just think back to that. That's my alternative. The alternative is if I give up, I'm going to go work for somebody else, and my life is going to be very different. And I'll probably end up working more hours for somebody else for less money, definitely less money, which means then I'll have less time with my family. So that's not a good option for me.
What do you think you picked up as part of the inner circle and part of the relationship, the mind expanding stuff that we did together? What do you take away from that?
Without question, the number one thing I got out of the inner circle was this belief that anything is possible. And I thought I believed that before I was in the inner circle, and I think I did in theory, but I came out of the inner circle thinking that, wow, you can do anything. Business wise, you can solve any problem. You can help a billion people if you really want to, right? You can do anything. And why I got that out of the inner circle was because of just the constant reminders and discussions we had, the stories that you told about people that have changed the world and have changed their lives, and it was just like this experience of being with like-minded people. There were 100 of us, remember?
Yeah, right.
Uh, and it was kind of crazy. It was like, we're kind of nuts to be here together. But it was a good crazy, you know. It was like, you know what, this might be crazy to other people, but once you get in that world, it's not really crazy. It's like, you know, not being like this is crazy.
Yeah, there you
Why
go.
would you want to limit yourself? You know, putting limits out there for yourself, that's crazy, right? But unfortunately, that's what's normal for most people, which I think is nuts. So when the inner circle was, man, it was great. It was just like coming home, and it was like taking this. You're there with, you could breathe this fresh air of, oh, I found my people, right? You know,
Yeah,
or
exactly.
we can do anything, and
Yeah.
that's really what I got out of it.
So yeah, it was a great group. We went to Tahiti. Did you end up coming to Machu Picchu with us?
No, that was I think the following year.
This the next year. We went to Canada, I think, together. We went
Yep.
to
Bam.
Dallas. We went to Tahiti was fun.
Yep.
Just hanging with like-minded people. You're right.
Yeah.
Today, what do you want? You have a daughter, right? So what do you
Yeah.
want to transmit to her that when she's growing up, kind of attitudes and beliefs?
Yeah, I want her to know that she can do whatever she wants to do in life, that there's no limits. I want her to, you know, to know that really it's that she should understand that what society tells you is the way is not necessarily the way, right? There are constructs and limits that the world, that society projects
Yep.
out there. And for the most part, I think it's harmful. And I think that you need to understand, she needs to understand that you make your own world, you make your own life, you make your own reality. And you don't, you know, all this other stuff, all this noise in the news and all this stuff, this all this pessimism and negativity out there, you would think that that's how it is, but it really isn't. It's, if you turn off the news and you ignore what's going on, I mean, I'm not saying to put your head in the sand and, you know, be clueless, but you can be aware of what's going on and understand that the reality is that most people are wonderful. Around the world, we're all the same. Uh, really, people are awesome, and almost everyone wants to help each other, you know. And the news would have you believe that that's not how it is, right? But if you understand that, you create your own reality. You know, you just be a good person, and if you can help people, you're gonna have a great life.
There you go. Well, I know she'll pick that up from you because she's hanging around great people. She's hanging around her
Yeah,
grandfather
hope so.
and brothers, uncles, all that kind of
Yeah,
thing. So it's by osmosis. She's going to kind of pick that up, just kind of like the inner circle. Just after a while, you hang around people who are thinking that way. Jim Francis said the other day, he says that he was quoting Jim Rome, who said that, you know, that the five, you are the average of your five best
yeah.
friends, you know, your income. And he says, if that's the case, then I want to be the dumbest one of them. I want to be
Yeah,
the one
yeah,
that's the dumbest because I want to
yeah.
have 4 or 5 other people who are smarter than me. And
Oh, for sure.
yeah, so
You know, that's funny you say that. I regularly say I don't know. That's something that I say all the time, and I think that's a great attitude to have. Like, you don't need to know everything, and if you have the attitude of knowing everything, I think you're going to be in trouble. Uh, you know, really, I'm always thinking that I really don't know anything. I have all the success, and I'm always a student. I'm always wanting to learn, and to figure out, okay, how can I be better? What's the answer to this challenge? Like even in my business, when we have a challenge, which is all the time, I'll ask my employees, I'll ask my team, I go, well, what do you guys think we should do? I don't know. I'm just the guy that put the company together, but I need your help because, yeah, I got some experience, but I don't know everything, right?
Well, you and Socrates. Socrates is famous for saying, I know nothing. So
Yeah. Well,
I
there you
agree.
go.
So you're hungry to always learn. What are some books that have changed your life? When you go back and think
Well,
about
like,
it.
yeah, without a doubt, Rich Dad Poor Dad, that was the #1 book. 1 Minute Millionaire, that was one of the next ones I read. Tony Robbins, Awaken the Giant Within, I think it's called. That was a big book for me. I think I read that before Kiyosaki. I think that was the first kind of self-help book I read. I thought that was amazing. I actually got that on cassette, and I would listen to Awaken the Giant Within driving to work in the morning and in the evening, driving home. That was a mind blower for me. Really, really opened my eyes. Yeah, those were great books. Oh, Robert Cialdini's Elements of Persuasion, I believe it's called.
Influence.
Yeah, right.
Big one.
He's got a couple of them, but yeah, his classic book on influences, that's incredible. Another great book on direct response marketing that I make all of my new team members read is called Cashvertising.
Cashvertisement?
Cashvertising.
Advertising.
Yeah, let me look up.
Okay, gotta get that one.
This is it's a great, easy to understand introduction to direct response marketing.
Yep.
It's by Drew Eric Whitman. That's the author.
Got it.
Yeah. I'm just looking at my bookshelf here. Another great book that's relevant to the financial, just the online publishing world is called Ready, Fire, Aim.
Oh yeah.
That's an amazing book. I wish I had read that before I started my business. It would have saved me a lot of problems. But those are some of the main books that really were eye-opening to me. The more I at least for me, the more books I read today, there's a lot of overlap in what's taught. If you're a reader, like I am, so I'm always looking for just that one little thing that it's either a reminder or it's something. It's very rare, I think, to find some brand new idea if you've read a lot. Right. But sometimes you just need a good reminder, just to keep you going.
Yeah. How often do you read?
I try to read I try to read every day a little bit. I wish I read more, but I really don't. I think I'm lucky to read a book every month or two.
How about your daily ritual? Do you have a regimen that you follow when you get up, or is it any time of day that's kind of scheduled for you?
I do not have a daily ritual like you're thinking of a daily ritual. I don't. Some people have these amazing rituals where they wake up at 6 o'clock and they meditate. Yeah. Then they drink a gallon of water, and then they go to the gym. Man, I aspire to having a daily ritual. Right now, I'm happy if I can wake up before my daughter. And that's the only time I get any peace of mind in the morning. Because once she's up, man, that's it. It's, she needs my attention. But one thing that I do from time to time that helps every time I do it is I'll do a 15-minute meditation. And that whatever, and it's nothing fancy, but my wife and I actually took a transcendental meditation course last year, 2 years ago, just locally. And we thought it was great. There's a lot of different ways to meditate, but we just wanted to take a class. And I'll do that. I'll do 15 minutes of that. and just, wherever I am. And that always kind of resets things for me. Whenever I got some crazy problem, it seems unsolvable. Just doing 15 minutes of that will make things a lot more clear and easy to get through.
So it happens sporadically throughout the day whenever you need it.
Yeah.
What would you say your strengths are? The traits that have made you successful, Greg?
That's a great question. Well, I think one of them is being curious. Just being. I think I'm curious about everything, even if it's not business. If something interests me, I go all in on whatever it is, almost to the point where it's too much sometimes. Like if I'm interested in a new instrument, I play guitar. I became interested years ago in the pedal steel guitar, which is a completely different beast than a guitar. So I bought this just crazy pedal steel guitar, bought all the videos and tutorials on it, hired somebody to teach me, did everything for like 3 months. I was all into that. Or if I'm into, if I see some movie on some biography on some famous person or some musician or whatever, I'll go and buy their catalog, buy all their albums and listen to their music nonstop for a month. Or if I learn some new business thing, same kind of behavior. I'm so curious about whatever it is that I want to know everything.
Hey, Greg, you have frozen here a little bit. I don't know if you can still hear me. Can you still hear me? Okay. Hello. So you have frozen at a very interesting facial expression. Actually, it's curiosity. This is a perfect facial expression. I gotta send this to you. Yeah, there we go. Okay, all right. And come on back in. So I hope Greg comes back in again, but that was a conversation with a multimillionaire, a business owner, a successful man, a successful father, a successful friend. So we'll end our conversation right now, and we'll say goodbye to Greg. His last facial expression you saw there was a curiosity expression. I was going to ask him, and maybe I'll ask you if you're watching all the way to the end here, who are your heroes? Who inspires you? Who motivates you? What biographies do you read? What autobiographies do you read? Who has been a model for you, a mentor for you? Somebody that's an icon for you, who you recognize and respect and admire. We all do, all of us do. And the question I would ask you, and obviously can't ask Greg because he's not here any longer, but that's the question I would ask him. And since I'm not able to ask him, then I'll let you think about that. You have a wonderful day, everybody. God bless. Traits of the greats. Oh, here's Greg. Might be back in. Let's see if he's made it. You're back in. Hello.
I'm back. Sorry about that.
No problem. Here, as we end our conversation, I was asking the viewers a question I wanted to ask you, and so I asked them since you weren't here. The question is, who are your heroes? Who are the people you respect and admire? Could be ancient, could be current, could be leaders today. Who do you emulate and want to be like? Books you read.
I'm I've never been a big hero worshiper. I really have always kind of thought everybody was the same, you know.
Yeah.
If I had, it's going to sound a little cheesy, but I think my dad is my hero. Um, he's been a great role model, and I think I've always wanted to kind of be like him. You know, not when I was a teenager, but the older I get, the more I think I respect just how he's lived his life, his morals. I, I think in the back of my mind, still, I've always never wanted to disappoint him
Uh-huh.
in whatever aspect of my life that was. And really, there's no one else that I care about their opinion. I could care less, really. But if I were to disappoint my dad, I would feel pretty bad about that.
Well, I feel the same way. But my dad was my hero. Yep, he was a great one. Very
Yeah.
solid human being, and
Yeah.
I feel it's unfortunate for those who don't get an opportunity to have a father figure like that.
Yeah.
But many don't. And of course, my mother died the day I was born, so I
Oh,
didn't
that's
get an
right.
opportunity
Right.
to have a mother figure like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, Greg, any final thoughts you'd say for a beginner who's like back when you were in year 2000, 20 years ago? Uh, there are people just like you who are starting out and are struggling just like you did. So what would you tell
I would tell them that you should chase your dream. You know, you are going to be presented with an opportunity to quit every day for the rest of your life. And the difference between being successful at whatever you want to do and failing is just not quitting, stepping over those barriers, because it's tough. It is still, to this day, it's tough. But you know what? I think life is tough, and you can hide or you can go for it. And it's a lot more. I think life is a lot more rewarding and enjoyable and fulfilling and satisfying if you don't give up. And that's even if you're not an entrepreneur. That's just like life, right? Uh, I've had a lot of things in recent years personally that have nothing to do with business that were very challenging, and I'm a better person today for getting through those, and that's the advice I would give.
Greg Poulos, thank you so much for
Thanks,
your
Bob.
insights. And as a member of the Traits of the Greats Hall of Fame, welcome. Congratulations.
Thanks,
Have,
Bob. It's great talking to you.
yeah. Now,